Welcome to the Natural Parents Podcast, where we will cover all things faith, health, family, and wealth through a biblical perspective of putting things in life that matter most back into order. We're reminded of Matthew 6:33, where Jesus said, "But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all of these things shall be added to you." Join us each week as we focus on what truly matters most in this life and passing those values on to the next generation. This is the Natural Parents Podcast with Ryan and Abby Hukin.
So, Rebekah, you are a collaborative with other moms and you created St. Louis Mom. What inspired you to start that page in that community?
Yes. So actually we're celebrating 6 years today of St. Louis Mom. It's our birthday. And I became a mom overseas for the first time. And I wasn't really sure where to go when I needed certain things. Like, for example, the service that you offer to families and, where to take my baby like on a rainy day inside, things like that. And I just knew that I wanted to play a role in helping moms be able to access what they need so that they can then really just focus on their family and being present in motherhood. And so, I had the opportunity to start the chapter of City Mom Collective, which is our national kind of parent cohort company. And so they didn't have a chapter, a site here in St. Louis. And my sister-in-law is also involved with City Mom Collective. And she said, you should consider this because St. Louis is such a great city for families. And I think this could really meet a need. So I just started to investigate a little bit, met my current business partner at the time. And we said, let's go for it. And that was 6 years ago. Here we are.
I love that. And I love the mission that you guys have with that. Would you tell us and our listeners all about that? What your future goals are? And again, the mission of STL Mom.
Yeah, well, the mission of the St. Louis Mom is to equip, encourage, and unite moms in motherhood. I just want moms to be able to come to our site, to our social media, to our emails, and find what they need. Like I said, whether that's a summer camp or a preschool recommendation or a cool new park or a fun event happening around town. We love to promote all the wonderful things that St. Louis has to offer families. So really to be a one-stop shop for motherhood, to be kind of the resource, that if moms are like, okay, I need something today, St. Louis Mom's going to have it. So I would say my goal for the future is just to continue to reach moms, moms, no matter who they are, where they're coming from, where they're going, any mom is welcome to be part of St. Louis Mom and to use our resources.
We lived in St. Louis for a short period of time and there's just so much that goes on, but it's like, where do I get my information and how do I know and what time is it and is it kid friendly and what ages? And so I love that you've provided for moms to be able to find that information and then also connect with other moms, because motherhood, especially if you're a stay-at-home mom or in that postpartum period, it can be isolating and lonely for a lot of people. So just that you provide that information out there is so cool. What is like the biggest struggle that you've heard from moms, whether they're new moms or moms of multiple children?
Oh man, the challenges of motherhood. Where to begin, right? Something that I've been hearing in some of my circles recently is moms just trying to figure out this relationship with technology and motherhood these days. I think this is something that previous generations haven't had to figure out or battle. But just our relationships with our devices and with social media, and how, they become a big part of how we parent, right? But then how do you kind of impose that boundary to say, I don't want it to impact my relationship with my child, or if that makes sense, what I'm getting at. Because, they're watching us and, now we're raising up a generation that is going to be part of this technology era. And so, the approach I've taken is like, okay, how can we teach, like anything, moderation, that it can be a good tool. It can be something that can help us, that can make our lives easier, that can bring joy and connect us to things that we need. But then how also to kind of recognize when we're using it as like a means of comfort or a way to kind of zone out or so just I think that's been a struggle recently that I've really felt passionately about is just like how can we as moms find a way through this? How can we find a way to stay connected to our kids, to be mindful of how we use technology, and to not also believe some of the lies that social media is feeding us to, of what it should look like to be a mom, or you need to have all this to have it all. And I was just talking to my mom the other day, and she's like, "Man, I read this article about this gal. She's a full-time pharmacist, and she created a website and da 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 da." She's like, "Man, back in my day, it's just like we were just doing good to show up, get the kids to the park and back home again, So yeah, I think also being mindful of what we're consuming too. Anyway, that's kind of a big tangent, but I do think it's a big challenge that moms are facing, and I think it's going to get harder, to be quite honest. And it's going to be hard to kind of reverse out of it. And I also think, we talk about the burden, the load of motherhood, that kind of invisible load. How do you find time for, your spouse, if that applies? How do you find time for nurturing yourself? How do you find time, to take the kids to all the activities and, to run your home and work if, that applies to you too. And I think that that's something that's surprising to so many moms is just like, whew, you get through the newborn years and you're like, okay, we're sleeping again, but man, what have I gotten myself into? So I would say that those are some of the challenges.
And I can completely relate to those. And, with like social media and technology, it is such a challenge because you want to go on there to learn things that will better you and better you as a mom and like cool things for your kids. And then, but it's like that fine line that then you automatically go into that comparison and I'm not good enough. And look, they have it all together, when really it is just a glimpse. And like, there's even been times that it's like, it makes me not want to post anything. Sometimes like I have to feel super inspired because it's like, I don't want that, somebody to fall into that trap as well. And so I can completely relate to that. But, sometimes we love to, my girls and I love to sit down, pull up YouTube and look at all the homesteading YouTubes because we learn so much that we can then implement on ours. Like that double-edged sword for sure. Yes. But I can definitely relate to that. And just the weight of motherhood is, you got to kind of keep all the balls up in the air, right? Like home has to be somewhat clean or you're a slob. And if you don't, and like, it's a lot. And I think that isn't spoken of enough, just the weight that you do carry whenever you try to do it all and give your kids the best life and your husband and all of the things.
Exactly. Well, and I think what we're seeing too is like for the people who seem to have it all, they don't, something has been compromised or, there's an area of struggle somewhere that's just not visible. Nobody is doing it all. Nobody's mastered it. Or they have a lot of help, but nobody's mastered it. Nobody's figured it out. And it ebbs and flows. Like every season of motherhood is different too. I think as your children age and it just every day is different.
Well, I can speak to that too, because I think what we're both saying is there's almost this catch-22 aspect of, okay, we live in this digital age where all of that content is consumable. But I just appreciate you so much for having a page and a place and a medium that is built on these, social platforms where people can go, and for lack of a better term, it's like a safe place, right? It's community based and it's all positive, uplifting type of information, or it's, hey, here's where you can go and get real connection with real people, like, there's no fluff, no, idealistic ideas here of what you should be doing. It's just like, let's get together, or hey, check out this cool new thing that you could take your kids to and get not screen time, but real time, playing, parks, activities, all of this type of stuff. So again, I just commend you for because
Thank
while
you.
social media is both, as Abby said, like almost this double-edged sword thing, we can use it for good, and I appreciate
For
you
good.
doing it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we've really tried to make it a space that's just very unifying. You know, I think that social media in a lot of ways can be a dark place and um divisive, you know, and so I've just really tried to make it our mission to just unite where we can, you know, instead of divide. So,
I love that.
yeah.
Well, speaking of unification, is there a group? Is there a brother group to STL moms or anything like that? Do you know of any stuff out there for STL dads and their kids?
No, and I wish there were. Like I would love to like come alongside an STL dad who wants to do it and help him, because I think that it would be awesome for dads. You know, because the mom tips would look totally different than the dad tips,
For
you
sure.
know. I just saw a really funny video about like a dad trying to get a baby to sleep, and it was just ridiculous how he did it. But the baby fell asleep, you know? And so I think it's like dads, they just need to do their own thing. And moms need to just be hands off and be like, yep, go do your thing. It's great, you know? So I would love to see an STL dad page. That would be wonderful.
All right, guys, you heard it right there. Here's your chance. You got an opportunity, a strategic partner. You could get in on this with STL dads.
Yeah,
It's a
I
needed
love it
resource, sure, but
for
yeah.
sure. Hmm.
Awesome. Well, I just love this. And I just think it's such a great resource. So where is a place that moms, and the fun thing is that we are from a small town that's about an hour from St. Louis, but like anytime you need to, you always go to St. Louis. And so this is something that's so valuable, even for the rural areas around. Where is a place that the moms can go to get all of the information, the inside scoop, and what's happening? What is the best place to do that at?
Yeah, well, I'll share 3 different platforms. So, we are active on both Instagram and Facebook. I would say the most real-time information that you're going to get is Instagram, and that is STLewis_mom. And then you have our website, which is www.stlewismom.com. And then we have a weekly newsletter that goes out that is kind of a recap of all that we've got going on with events, highlights from social media, you know, because we have a lot of moms who follow us that are not on social media, or moms who just had a busy week and they weren't on social media, you know, very much, or they're trying to pull back from using social media. And so, you know, they find that those are helpful tools, you know, outside of Instagram and Facebook. So those are the primary ways that you can reach us in the digital space. And then we host events as well. We're hosting a park meetup series this summer, which is free for caretakers and kids. We have 3 of those happening, and then we have a moms only event happening this month, family event at the end of the month, and then we're doing a big family event in August too. So and you can find out about all of those on our website as well.
I love that. That's so great. And I love, again, just a sense of community that you guys are forming for moms here. Do you have any charter chapters, anything that goes out in other cities? Like you mentioned how you guys got started within your own business here, but do you have anything else out there for other people more nationally?
You know, we don't. We have sister sites, if that is what you're referring to. So we have Kansas City Mom Collective. They're a great friend of ours, wonderful resource. Nashville Moms, Wichita Moms. Let's see what else. Louisville. We have Louisville Moms. We have Indianapolis Moms. What are some other neighboring cities that I'm missing? There is not a Chicago Moms, and I've heard that one of the reasons is because Chicago is so vast, you know, and it has such kind of a vast system of like suburbs that it's always been kind of hard to like capture it all, you know. So we end up getting a lot of web traffic actually from Chicago, you know, from people who are looking for resources from there. But yeah, I mean, we got a lot of a lot of sister sites around the Midwest, and across the country too, doing what we're doing.
I love that. Before we sign off, not to put you on the spot, but do you have any piece of information, one like thing that you just want to encourage moms in or share with them that might be listening before said, just something that's on your heart to share with them?
Yeah. Well, I think I feel like motherhood is a really sacred calling. I think that, I just can't think of something a more noble calling than to bring up the next generation, to give life, to, treasure life. And I just want moms to know that I think that they have the most important job. And that, those moments of the diapers and the blowouts and the stomach bugs and just the endless cleaning and laundry, and that I really do think all of that is culminating into something that will last, and that it's not meaningless. It's so full of purpose, and just being present with your children, loving them, will just reap a really big harvest, and that it's not meaningless. It's super important. So that's what I think.
I love that. And I couldn't agree more. My kids, I have got twin girls that are 6 and a boy that's 4. And I tell them all the time, I'm like, being a mom is the best job in the entire world. And they're like, what? And it is. It is such this blessing that like you are their person. And at times that can feel really overwhelming, but you are their love, their comfort, their voice, everything. And I just think a mother's love is unlike anything else. And it is just the biggest blessing that anybody could ever experience, for sure. So I really do appreciate you creating this community, having a place that moms can come meet other moms and just have that support of who gets them. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. It's such a joy and an honor.
Thanks, guys. Make sure you connect with Rebekah at the pages. We will link her links in the show notes and then the description below.
Thank you for having me.
From the bottom of our hearts, we want to thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with someone you know and leave a review. By doing so, we're able to grow this community of amazing people just like you and raise a generation of children that know God and do His will on earth. We'll see you next time.